Asia Pop 40.
We're here right now with Waiting for Smith, and of course it's the brainchild of Harry Lloyd, who is here with us over the etherweb. Hello, Harry.
Hey, Joey, how you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good, man. Feeling very positive, actually, despite the current
Currently,
situation.
where are you right now feeling positive?
I am currently in Oxfordshire, which for people that don't know, it's sort of, it's in the UK. It's not sort of about an hour from London, I guess, and surrounded by musical instruments and animals. Just taking it as easy as possible.
You know what?
Trying to stay light.
I mean, I can let go of the musical instruments, but you got to tell us about the animals.
Well, we've got a cat. Cat for starters. Okay. We're surrounded by farms, so there's a couple of cows around. We got some sheep down the road, some goats. So I feel lucky, really.
No way. Okay, so you are really surrounded by farm animals. Not in your house, but of course your neighbors. Driving back home, does that mean you get to see a lot of that? And I guess that it's fair to say you're in a suburban area then.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's countryside. I'm surrounded by. There's this big walk up by my house called the Ridgeway, and it was known as like an old traveler's route. So it's got loads of history to it. It's 88 miles long, and it was the walk of kind of lots of poets and travelers, and it's just amazing scenery. You know, lots of fields. So it's a great place to be at the moment, to write and to think and to just stay as positive as you can, really. So
yeah, and of course this is the space that you create in. Is that correct?
Yeah, I definitely write. I write a lot here when I'm here. I don't know. I find it just inspiring to be out in nature, and I don't know. Either staying in one place I find inspiring, or going somewhere totally different, and hearing a new language or meeting new people, and that kind of thing where you arrive in a new place and you're just like, oh, this is cool. I don't really understand what's going on, but you get a sense for just this new feeling, and anyway.
Yeah, I get a feeling that you travel a lot because not only do you have songs titled after different countries or cities, like Roma, for example, or Peace in Greece, but also I understand that the latest single, Long Life, was filmed in Madrid, right?
So Long Life was filmed about 2 weeks before everything essentially locked down and shut down. So we were running around Madrid in the world before things got kind of crazy. But it was an amazing experience. We went with a small little crew, and we just had a great time running around and going around the city. And we had a little driver who spoke Spanish and English, so she was amazing, called Nicole, and she kind of helped us out when we wanted to ask, hey, Mr. Farmer, Senor, can we film on your land and cruise around in a car? Is that going to be cool? And it goes a long way if you just if anyone's filming in Spain, it goes a long way if you bring a bottle of wine with you. That goes down a treat. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and then everything changed, and suddenly it felt like, okay, well, this seems like the perfect time to bring this message out and try to cheer some people up, make a few people smile, hopefully.
We'll get to the lyrics in a little bit because I really want to talk about the lyrics. It seems like you came to some sort of epiphany in life, and some of the things you wrote can be very inspiring. But I want to take people back to the starts, back before Long Life, before the EP, before the string of singles that you released starting in 2017. What got you into music?
Probably, I would say, so I had a band when I was about 9 or 10. I was the drummer and the singer and the co-songwriter. Quite young to start up a group, but it was kind of like a pop punk thing. And we had our first song was called Mind the Gap, and the lyric went, mind the gap, it's not hard, you don't need a map. And people were singing along, mind the gap, mind the gap. And we just had this we had this little kind of thing, like a school scene kind of thing. And there was one other band in school, so there wasn't a huge amount of competition. We were definitely better, But and then it kind of evolved from there. I think I remember my dad at the time saying, "Hey, we should go see a concert. You're in a band now. We should go see some people that have done it and been around the block." So he took me to go see the Rolling Stones at Wembley which was an amazing present. It was for my birthday. I went with my friend Danny, who was the lead guitarist in the group, and we went. And I remember thinking, okay, these guys are pretty old. We were 10. they were still old then. And I was thinking, these guys are pretty old, but I'm gonna go with an open mind. I'm 10. I'm see what my dad's on about. And I remember they started playing this song, "Get Off of My Cloud." And I was like, wow, what is this? And the showmanship, and I remember they walked to the front. They had this kind of bit in Wembley where it goes into the crowd, and they walked to the front of there where they had the instruments also set up, and they were playing this song. And I just remember the excitement of the crowd, and suddenly next to me, this woman just goes, "I love you, Mick," and she took off her top. Right, and she chucks her bra.
You were 10.
Yeah, I was 10. She chucks her bra at Mick Jagger, and I'm thinking, whoa, what is this? Like, this is amazing, This is the first experience of this kind of proper rock and roll thing. And the bouncer just saw me, like the guy was, keeping the crowd control, just saw how excited I was, and saw these two little punks being like, okay, we're going to give these guys a show of their life. So he lifts me up in front of the whole of Wembley Stadium, literally this massive burly bouncer. And he lifts me up, and I raise out my hand, and Ron Wood pulls off his guitar and high fives me in front of the whole of Wembley, and the whole stadium was like, wow. And I just remember just being like, I want that guy's job.
That's the moment that you decided you want to be in that crowd.
And I just thought that was, it was one of those moments in life that you never forget, and you kind of go, I think that was a big part of realizing how much joy you can bring to a large group of people. And that was one of the things that definitely started me off, I think.
Wow, I mean, that's quite a story to tell. And when you said your dad was going to take you to a concert, I didn't know he's going to take you to the concert. Yeah. But, I can tell already that you, of course, had a lot of, humor growing up. Because, I mean, Dad was a producer and a writer too, right? Did any of that spill over to your creativity?
Yeah, definitely. I think I said it recently in an interview with a guy called Louis Beefrey in Cleveland, in USA, and I was saying that I think one of the greatest things that I was given as a kid was just this sense of possibility. That there was a lot of growing up. There was a lot of kind of comics coming around to the house because Dad was he did things like Spitting Image and Blackadder and Not 9 O'Clock News and these shows in the UK that were kind of central to comedy. And so there were lots of guys coming around to the house, and they were always kind of light-hearted and fun. I mean, comics actually in real life, they're miserable, really, because they're so funny in normal life, but then when they're out of the kind of group thing, they can really get down. But generally when they were around the house, it was just like, oh, there's young Harry, and it was kind of, for them it's like a show, it's like a little kid who just loves everything and is really interested and exciting. It's the perfect kind of audience. And I think just that sense of possibility that people walking in the house, and they were doing things that they cared about, and they're doing things that they loved, and they seemed happy for it, meant that I grew up around this tremendous sense of kind of, you can do anything you like in life as long as you go for it. And that's a great thing to have as a kid. It's so valuable to have that. It's very rare, I think.
Did you, I mean, of course, you had the atmosphere growing up, you had the environment that encouraged creativity and to explore the possibilities. But every story that I hear started with you and your injury during a ski accident at the French Alps. I was wondering, what were you doing before that? Did you have a job that you enjoyed, or have you always been creating?
Before I was a ski instructor?
Before you were a ski instructor, yeah.
Before that, I was really lost. I mean, in a good way. I got out of school and I figured out, right, I'm not going to go to university. I like school for certain things. I liked some of the creative elements of it, English, history, those kind of things. But I realized actually that school was, for me, I was just like, well, I want to go see the world. You know, I want to go understand more about how the world actually operates. Because school's a very small version of it, and it doesn't really set you up for life. And so I thought, okay, right, I'm gonna leave home and kind of go wherever it takes me. And I took jobs sort of everywhere. I was in Russia for a bit. I was in Cuba for a bit, Argentina, in France. I kind of went around. I went through Europe, and I had jobs as a coffee guy, waiter, cigar salesman, orchestral contractor. I literally tried anything. I worked on modeling shoots with videographers, all sorts of stuff. Just basically, if someone said, hey, look, I got a job and it's 2 weeks and it'll take you somewhere, I'm like, great, let's do it. And I went when I was about 18 and I just got out of school. I got a job working as a sort of orchestral manager. Had no idea what I was doing.
What is? I have no idea what that is.
Okay, so it's like the person. So it was a group called Bell and Sebastian, and they're big around the UK. And this guy offered me in a bar one night. He said, "Look, I've got this job, which is, you know, we're going to go up north for 2 weeks. We'll go around the university towns with this band, and you basically have to get the orchestra to arrive on time, and." That's your main.
Which can't be hard.
That's your main job. So you've got to keep them out of the pubs. You got to make sure they show up and they play the right thing. So I basically carried around sheet music. I can't read music, and I'm terrible. I'm a really late person, or was then. So it was like the worst fitting job for me possible, but somehow I managed to do it anyway. And I just, day to day, we go from, you know, Manchester to Bristol and to Newcastle, around the UK, and I'd just be kind of roll calling these, you know, orchestral people and being like, oh no, the brass is still in the pub, and like call up, you know, the head brass player being like, look, Bob, you're gonna have to finish your pint now. We're on in 10 minutes. You're really pushing the boat. But of course you're 18 years old and no one really, they kind of half take you seriously, but also they're like, oh, it's Harry, he's a fun guy, but you know, we're not gonna get in trouble with him. He's a kid. And so, I don't know, you get this great sense of kind of how to manage people and how to get to understand people quickly and get on with people quickly. And I think that set me up really well for music, just because you're having to know someone quite quickly and try and ask them to, hey, do you want to listen to my music, or do you want to, you know, give me this opportunity, or come to a gig, those kind of things. And it helps to be able to kind of connect with someone quickly, I guess.
I mean, that's a heck of a job for an 18-year-old, because some orchestra go up to 100 people, right?
Yeah.
So you're calling people all day.
Yeah, I was completely, I realized what I'd taken on when I was on the bus up, and I was like, what am I doing? But I think a lot of those things where I've pushed myself as a person to kind of go beyond my comfort zone have always been the moments where I learned something. So.
Well, that's funny. Because ironically, the name Waiting for Smith came around because you were waiting for a member of your band who was always late, yet you had a job, which was to make sure that people didn't show up late.
Yeah, I know. Quite ironic. Yeah. The old Smith story. The guy that kind of never showed up. We had rotten luck with drummers. We could just never get drummers to turn up for some reason. When I restarted the group with the same guys that I had this group when I was 10 with, we literally took a 14-year hiatus, and then we came back to it. And yeah, for some reason, because I was the drummer, I was playing other instruments at that point, so we needed a drummer, and it was just one of those things. It just became a running joke, being like, when are we ever going to get a drummer? And then the guy that we picked to turn up was called Smith, and it was ridiculous because we were waiting around at bus stops, you know, in the rain, being like, where is this guy Smith? Where the hell is Smith? When's he going to show up? And then,
how bad does it get? Like, how late would he be?
Oh, you know, just not showing up. And, you know, musicians are terrible for it. You know, you've always got to tell. I've started to learn that myself now. I'm much more on time for things now. But, you know, with any players, I'll always give them kind of an hour to somehow they'll get lost in traffic, or something will get lost, or they'll take the wrong road, or, you know, they won't wake up on time. So you just gotta know that, and you're fine.
Yeah, you gotta start telling them an hour ahead. Basically, if you're starting band practice at 7, you tell them that you're starting it at 6, so
Yeah.
they show up at 7:30.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, so that's the origin of the band Waiting for Smith, which is essentially your brainchild. Of course, the story goes that while you were taking a job in the French Alps as a ski instructor, you hurt your back in 2 places. How severe was this accident?
Well, it was. It changed my life, really, Joe. I mean, it was, but I always see it as a good thing. It was very sudden. You know, I was working as a ski instructor. I was finishing my exams. I was working for a French ski school, and I'd done that, and it had been an amazing few years. And then I had this accident off piste. I was finishing my avalanche training. It was avalanche safety training, so it's quite an ironic accident to have, a massive accident while trying to finish safety exams. And I did basically a front flip off a kind of lump in the snow, and then I kind of heard my back go. Knew it was broken, and lay there, and suddenly I knew there were helicopters coming and whatever, and I was strapped in and taken to hospital. And I basically spent, after that time, I spent a year recovering in bed, where I went home, and I couldn't obviously do the ski instructing anymore. So it was sort of my time to go, right, what do I want to do with my life? I guess for me, that moment was like you have chapters in your life. Everyone does, whether it's a breakup or an end of a job or you leave home, whatever it is. And that was definitely a moment in the road where I went, okay, I've got this year. What am I going to do with it? So I surrounded myself with just good things, good films, good music, learned to play guitar. And it was in that year that I realized music was really the first thing that I wanted to properly go for. And so I'm kind of grateful for it in an odd way.
So what year was the accident?
It was probably about nearly 4 years ago now.
2016?
Yeah, or was it 2015? No, it must have been 20. I think it was 2015.
Okay, so it was very soon.
Nearly 5 years ago now. Wow, it's amazing.
And then you spent a year to recover. So it's very soon after that you started releasing singles, a whole string of them, right?
Yeah. I just, when you got a lot of time to think, you kind of go, it focuses you down a lot, and you kind of go, right, this is what's important. This is what I love. This is who, you kind of reshape your life in a way. And it gave me great clarity to go, right, I'm going to go for this. And how am I going to make this work? And I kind of researched and I looked around, and and it was like forming my master plan in bed and being like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. And some of it has worked and some of it's gone completely different way, but I'm kind of here now, and I feel like things are going in the right direction. So it's just exciting to be here, really. And I'm grateful to be okay. And, so I always think about that.
Did you happen to write some of the lyrics for Long Life around that time, around the time of your recovery?
Yeah, Long Life was, it was one of those ones I started I was playing this like finger picking pattern, and then I started kind of saying some comforting words, almost like how songwriting normally for me works is I'll be writing something to myself, trying to understand either me or a situation or someone else. And for me, it was kind of like my little upbeat theme tune that I wrote to myself to be like, man, don't worry, your back's broken and you died, but now you're back and you're gonna be fine, and don't worry about it, and just turn up every day and know that you're gonna get old one day and it's all gonna end, but at the moment it's not, and you got loads of time, so just relax and enjoy it. And and that was really kind of it was one of the things that kept me going, because it was like I kind of would wake up and be like, right, if I didn't know what to do, I would just be like, yeah, I'll play Long Life to myself. And that seemed to like make me feel better. And so then years on, now we're in this situation. I was like, well, I couldn't think of a better song to release at this time, considering it made me feel so upbeat. So hopefully it could make someone else feel good as well. And that was,
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. It's basically 6 parts to Long Life, and the first one is it's a long life if you don't know where to go. It's a long life if you don't know what to say. It's a long life if you are trying not to try. I think that's a really good one. A lot of us try so hard to not fail, and essentially we eventually do nothing. because of that. It's a long lie. So be your own boss. Sing a sad song. Try something for every spice. Is that what the line was with spice?
What is it? Try variety. Try variety and sample every grain of rice. Have you tried variety? I heard it tastes nice.
Yeah, that's right.
That was like, for me, that's just like saying, you know, there's so much possibility out there and there's so many things to go for. So just try everything before you settle for something. And it was kind of a reflection for me, because before my accident, I did try a tremendous amount of jobs. And the one thing that it did help me to know is that I definitely didn't want to clean toilets. Or
yeah, me too, brother.
You know, or that I definitely didn't want to, you know, sell flowers door to door or hustle for cigars or those kind of things. I was like, okay, these are going to be temporary things that are going to earn me money and they're going to get me to a level, but they're not going to sustain me in a deeper sense. And yeah, so that's what that was about, I think.
Okay, well, but let's take it on a literal sense. Have you ever tried any spice in Asia?
Well, I went to Japan. I went to Japan about the same time I started the band, when I was about 10 or 11. I went on had an amazing opportunity to take a 3-week exchange with another school. They had this amazing international program, and I signed up to it and got on. And so I went to Japan for 3 weeks, and it was mad. I remember trying, I had the first taste of kind of raw fish and an oyster. I hated it. I couldn't, I mean, you were 10, my stomach wasn't ready for it or anything. I wasn't quite there. But I remember there being this really nice, fluffy sort of toast that they put in some sort of oveny thing, and it kind of rose and it became like a kind of Japanese brioche or something. And I still remember really vivid images of eating that in the morning and just being so happy. But in answer to your question about spices, I don't know.
Or Asian food, really.
I mean, I love Thai green curry.
Okay,
like,
good.
A good Thai green curry is something, along with pizza, they're two things that instantly I'm going to feel better after having one of those two things. So yeah, I've sampled most of the Thai green curry around London.
On that note, then you should definitely come and stop by Singapore, where Asia Pop 40 is, or Taiwan, where I am, and try out the Asian food. When this all blows over, hopefully we'll be able to see you here in Asia to do a gig or two.
Man, I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
All right. Again, Harry Lloyd with, of course, Waiting for Smith here with us today, and thank you so much for joining us on Asia Pop 40.
Thank you so much, Joey. Hey, I'm Waiting for Smith, and you're listening to Asia Pop 40.